My name is Maya Quinn, and I'm 35 years old. By trade, I listen for the tiny click that means a door is ready to open. I'm a locksmith, the woman with the scuffed toolbox who shows up when a key snaps at midnight, and the hallway smells like someone else's cooking. Home is a small rental, one courtyard, two windows that rattle in wind, and one kid who counts sleeps like NASA counts seconds. Leo turns 10 on Sunday. He's been leaving Post-its on the fridge. 3 sleeps, 2 sleeps. He wants courtyard soccer, hot dogs, and a chocolate cake with a crooked 10 on top. Nothing that trends, nothing that costs what groceries do. In my family, I am the background fix. If a latch sticks, a lock jams, a garage door moans, call Maya. If there's a glow-up in matching outfits at sunset, call Natalie. She's my older sister, the golden headline, the born front row. I don't hate her. I used to trail behind her like a shadow with a wrench while she trailed applause. Mom kept score in a ledger only she could see. Somehow Natalie always had credits. I always had character building. Saturday, I stopped by my parents to borrow a folding table for Leo's party. Mom watched me dust it off in the garage and said, "Come inside for tea." Her tone meant agenda. Dad sat in his recliner, TV muted, practicing neutrality like it was a hobby. Mom poured without offering sugar. "We've been talking," she began. "About Sunday?" I asked. "About Leo," she corrected. "You can't have the party." It landed like weather. "What?" "Natalie's kids don't feel special enough," she said. "They saw the balloons you bought. They're sensitive right now. A big fuss for Leo would be divisive." "It's 5 kids and a cake," I said. "We're not hiring a brass band." "Postpone," she said, "or make it a joint celebration at Natalie's. Her yard is bigger. It's only fair." I looked at Dad. He adjusted the volume on the muted TV. "Leo turns 10 once," I said. "We've planned this for weeks." Mom's voice cooled. "If you choose selfishness, don't bring him here afterward. We won't reward it." The kettle clicked off by itself. Inside me, something small and precise moved into place. Pins aligning in a cylinder. It wasn't rage. It was recognition. The old ledger again. My son's joy, calculated as someone else's theft. "Okay," I said. "I hear you." I left the folding table. I walked out with empty hands and a thought that wouldn't let go. He turns 10 once, and we are done begging for permission to celebrate our own kid. You don't arrive at a sentence like "Natalie's kids don't feel special enough" out of nowhere. You build it over years, brick by brick, favor by favor, silence by silence. Growing up, love at our house came with fine print. When Natalie needed a new bat, the budget stretched. When I needed a school fee, we had to talk about priorities. When she won trophies, the living room turned shrine. When I fixed the fence, I got a nod and a good girl. I told myself I didn't mind because I like tools and certainty. Follow the pins, turn the plug, door opens, no ledgers, no drama. When Leo was born, I held him and thought, this is my job now. Make the edges kinder. We don't have much, but we have rules. Don't lie. Don't keep score. Don't weaponize help. My side of the family runs on small asks. Maya, can you install a smart lock at Natalie's? Maya, can you look at our garage door? Your father can't nap. Maya, can you pick up the kids? Jenna's spa day went long. At first, yes keeps the peace. You pay the tax, but taxes become tithes. Invoice them and you're cold-hearted. Don't invoice and you're a good daughter. The labels shapeshift, the ledger stays. I keep a budget notebook at home. Pencil numbers, rent, gas, groceries. Last year, I added a tiny page. Family jobs, hours, parts. January through June, 37 hours. Parts, $213. Reimbursed, $0. In March, Mom texted, "We'll settle up after Easter." Then Mother's Day. Then things are tight. Natalie posted a photo of a new espresso machine with the caption, "Invest in mornings." Cool. It isn't just money. It's posture. The assumption our time is elastic, that Leo's schedule can bend around real things. Last year, we tried a joint party to teach sharing. Leo faded into wallpaper while Natalie's kids got the center spot, the bigger slice, the topper that said family first. The photos looked adorable. In the bathroom later, Leo asked if joint meant not really mine. I held it together until he slept. Then I cried on the tiled floor, the sound swallowed by the fan. The week before his 10th, we planned small. 12 balloons, $16. Hot dogs and buns and juice, $41. Plates and candles, $9. A used soccer net off Marketplace, $20. Chocolate and butter and flour, $27. Total, $113, and one boy who drew tiny cakes next to each guest's name. He saved 2 seats for his cousins because Hope is stubborn at 10. Then Mom's kitchen, postpone or make it joint. Your sister's kids don't feel special enough. I told her no. The word came out quiet and shook the room anyway. That night, the phone lit up. Aunt, is a compromise really so hard? Dad, we're one family. Be pragmatic. Natalie, voice note. Don't be selfish. Mom, Maya Quinn. She uses my full name when she thinks she's saving me from myself. I put the phone face down. Lucas, my boyfriend, watched me tape streamers to the kitchen shelf. What do you want to do? He asked. Give our son his day, I said, and stop negotiating for basic joy. Then let's do that, he said. Lucas doesn't do speeches. He holds ladders. It counts. Mom's last text came at 10:41 p.m. If you go through with this, don't bring him here afterward. We cannot support your choices. In this family, support has always meant control. I slept light, dreamt of a stubborn cylinder, felt the final click. Sunday morning, Leo barreled into the kitchen in mismatched socks. Is it today? Is it double digits? It's today, I said. It's double digits. We iced the cake. My swirls looked like small waves. Leo said they were mountains. Lucas piped the 1 and the 0 a little crooked. It felt right. At 9:12, Mom called. At 9:14, Natalie. At 9:19, Dad. The log looked like a fire alarm. I opened the courtyard gate and taped a paper arrow. Leo's 10. Kids arrived. Backpacks, chatter, shy hellos turning into chaos, which is just another word for joy when you're 10. At 10:03, the gate rattled. I knew that knock. I knew that timing. I wiped frosting on a napkin and walked toward the sound. Then I remembered the other thing about locks. Once you learn how to listen, you also learn when to shut the door. The courtyard looked like a promise we could actually keep. 12 balloons scrubbing the sky, a $20 net sagging like it was trying its best, paper plates stacked like courage. Kids arrived in a scatter. Backpacks thumped to the ground, shoes squeaked, and shyness burned off the way fog does under 10 o'clock sun. Leo scored on his first kick and skidded on his knees, yelling, "Yes!" big enough to startle a pigeon off the fence. At 10:03, the gate rattled. Mom came in first, wearing church smile and courtroom posture. Natalie flowed behind her in a coat you have to dry clean and confidence you can't. Joel completed the trio. Tidy, apologetic eyes, palms open like he was here to mediate a hostage situation that was actually a birthday. They were not invited. They were dressed like hosts. My stomach sank. Lucas set the cake knife down and angled his shoulder closer to mine without moving his feet. It's his talent. Protection that doesn't make a scene. Leo's hand found mine. Frosting was still sticky at the corner of his mouth. Mom took in the thrift of it. The used net, the off-brand juice, the balloons that didn't spell anything Instagrammable. She made the face she saves for cilantro. Niche Maya, she corrected, catching herself. We told you the conditions. This is Leo's party, I said. The only condition is be kind. Natalie executed her politician smile. We're not here to fight. We're here to rescue this. Bring the cake to our place. The cousins are waiting. We've got a grill, an arch, a theme. It will look good. It already looks good to the person it's for, I said. Joel stepped forward, reasonable as a brochure. Let's be adults. Combine the events, and no one feels excluded. Someone already feels excluded, I said. He turns 10 once, and he's not a group project. Mom's voice went loud enough for every small ear to hear. You are making the other children feel less than. That is not who we are. I glanced at the kids. One boy froze with a paper cup mid-sip. Another shielded the cake with his body like a goalie. You can stay and be kind, I said. Or you can leave. Mom's eyes widened as if wind had slapped her. Excuse me? No speeches, no rescue, guests, or gone. Natalie laughed, high and bright, aimed to slice. Big words, little budget. A dozen petty comebacks lined up in my head. Every hour I'd spent rewiring their doorbell, rekeying the house after Natalie lost a purse, installing a camera system at midnight because fear had a deadline. I swallowed them all and chose the thing that would hold. Stop, I said. She blinked. What? Stop making my son's birthday about your kids. Stop turning our life into your project. Stop walking into spaces you weren't invited to and staging them like a photo shoot. Joel tried again. Think of the optics, Maya. I'm thinking of the child, I said. The optics are balloons. Mom snapped. If you leave like this, do not come back. We won't be treated this way. We won't be treated that way either, I said. Not heat, just a fact. Natalie stepped closer, voice low like a threat she thought would sound like wisdom. Careful about your next move. You're burning bridges. I'm lighting the path, I said. Kids, who wants to sing? And because 10-year-olds are better at joy than any adult with an agenda, the courtyard bloomed with an off-key, wholehearted chorus. Leo's face went glossy with happiness. He closed his eyes to make a wish he refused to tell me later. Because wishes are shy, Mom, and blew all 10 flames out at once. Smoke curled up past the balloons. Mom stayed frozen, trapped between public firmness and private fury. Then she turned on her heel. We're leaving. Text me when you come to your senses, Natalie added, already halfway out the gate. I didn't promise anything. They left. Air re-entered the courtyard like we'd taken plastic off a couch. Someone spilled juice. Someone yelled, "Goal again." Life resumed, messy and perfect. We cut cake. Leo claimed the corner piece. Extra frosting is extra birthday, and handed the other corner to the smallest kid there, because he's better at fairness than any email chain. When the last guest walked out with a sticky goodie bag and grass-stained socks, the courtyard looked like a confetti storm had gotten bored and laid down for a nap. Lucas leaned against me, forehead to temple, and whispered, "You held the line." I meant it, I said. This isn't revenge. It's closure, he finished. I know. We cleaned in the soft after-sound of a day done right. Then I looked at our small place like it was a map and saw all the trails where their footsteps crossed boundaries and called it love. Pack a bag, I said. Lucas didn't ask why. He moved toward the closet. I scooped legal documents into a folder the way you rescue things from a rising tide. Leo chose 2 Lego minifigs, so they won't be lonely. We left the faucet drip we'd been ignoring and the coin jar on the counter with its slow future inside. I locked our door from the outside. The cylinder turned and landed on that quiet click I trust more than language. We checked into a budget motel off Route 8. The sign buzzed. The AC hummed like a friend who doesn't need to be entertaining. Leo fell asleep between us, still smelling like sugar. In the television glow, Lucas looked at me. Are we really doing this? Yeah, I said, we are. 2 motel nights turned into a sublet above a barber shop. The landlord pressed a ring of mismatched keys into my palm and said, "Deadbolt sticks. You look like you know what you're doing." I fixed it in 5 minutes, while hair tonic drifted up the stairwell. I breathed easier than the duct ever did. We brought what we could carry. 2 duffels, the folding table, Leo's beanbag, the coin jar, the cake knife wrapped in a dish towel like we might need to celebrate again soon. We bought a second-hand mattress and a $40 couch that leaned left like it had an opinion but would still hold you. Mornings began with the Clippers buzz downstairs and Mr. Ortiz's radio. Evenings tasted like pasta and relief. The silence wasn't punishment, it was room. The family response arrived like weather, predictable fronts and sudden squalls. Week 1, calls, 27 from Mom, 14 from Dad, 9 from unknowns who all texted like ants, voicemails that sounded like press releases. Be reasonable. We are devastated. Think of the children. The therapy bills are on you. I saved them in a folder named Weather, so the next storm wouldn't pretend to be new. Week 2, money. A retroactive invoice from Mom, grocery run 2018, diapers 2015, love rebranded as debt. Screenshot. Weather. Week 3, smear. Beige quote posts about ingratitude under eucalyptus leaves. Heart emojis. Screenshot. Weather. I stopped checking Facebook. The world got smaller and better. Walking Leo past the deli where Mr. Ortiz started saving lemon lollipops for the polite one. Homework at the wobbling table. Soccer in the park with a ball losing hexagons. Lucas mending a stubborn drawer while I labeled 2 jars on the fridge, summer and emergency. That night, I raised my rates by $10 and typed them onto an invoice without apologizing. When family texted a quick favor, I wrote back, "Happy to help at my standard rate, $95 an hour plus parts. Weekend rate, $115. Mom replied, LOL. Natalie sent a Yelp screenshot. "Great," I texted. "Hire them." They didn't. I fell asleep to the barbershop radio and woke up to Leo's footsteps and the smell of our own coffee. Finally ours, finally simple. Somewhere in the phone, unread messages blinked their little red circles like alarms. I turned the screen face down, laid my palm flat on the table, and listened for the click in my chest. There it was again. The sound that means a door is locked. The sound that also means the right people still have keys. By week 4, silence had texture. It felt like clean sheets and uncluttered air. Strange at first, then holy. No guilt calls before breakfast. No emergency transfers. No, since you're single, you have time requests. The noise that used to fill every corner of my day was gone. In its place, actual space. On Tuesday morning, Dad called at 6:13 a.m. "The garage won't close," he said, like I was still on payroll. "I can come Friday at 2, I replied evenly. "Rates are $95 an hour plus parts." Silence. "You're really doing this?" he asked. "I am." He hung up. They hired a stranger who charged $140 and left wires exposed. An hour later, Mom texted a photo of the mess. This is what happens when family doesn't help family. I typed 5 different replies, deleted them all, and settled on none. If there's one thing locksmithing teaches you, it's that not every door needs reopening. Lucas noticed the difference before I did. "You hum when you cook now," he said one night, stirring sauce with one hand and holding a beer with the other. "I do not." "You do," he smiled. "Badly, but I'll take it." He wasn't wrong. I was lighter. Not cheerful, but unweighted. Leo noticed too. He stopped asking, "Are we going to Grandma's?" Instead, "Can we invite Omar from school?" The answer was yes, more often than it used to be. We started 2 jars, summer and emergency, fed them with tips, overtime, and the occasional 20. Lucas tucked inside when he sold an old guitar pedal. The numbers grew slow, then faster. It was boring, and that boredom felt sacred. By March, the rhythm of normal had muscle memory. Mornings, walk Leo to school past Mr. Ortiz sweeping his deli sidewalk, who always said, "Morning, locksmith lady." Evenings, pasta, homework, laughter that didn't need to be polite. At the barber shop below, clippers buzzed all day, and every click of the scissors reminded me, work done right doesn't ask for applause, it just fits. Late one afternoon, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. A man's voice said, "Is this Maya Quinn?" "This is Mark. I'm calling on behalf of your father. He said you're the primary executor of the family trust." My stomach went still. "I revoked that 2 months ago," I said. "I see. He mentioned you might be willing to revisit." I hung up. When manipulation fails, delegation begins. They'd run out of guilt, so now they were outsourcing it. I laughed out loud, sharp, relieved, startled by my own sound. A week later, Natalie appeared at the hardware store. I was in the paint aisle comparing prices on a quart of eggshell white. She walked straight up, perfume first, smile rehearsed. "Still doing your little handyman thing?" she said. "Still doing your little performance thing?" I answered. Her jaw tensed. "You're cruel now, you know that?" "I'm consistent," I said. "You just don't like that the answer stopped being yes." She sighed, like she was the one exhausted by my boundaries. "You'll regret this when Mom's gone." I looked at the row of padlocks on the shelf and said, "I already did my regretting." That night, I found Leo asleep on the couch, one arm draped over a half-built Lego tower, TV whispering static. I turned the volume down and sat for a minute. He didn't stir. His breathing was deep, even, the kind of sleep that only comes when the walls around you are safe. I thought about how many doors I'd fixed in my life, how many keys I'd cut, how many people thanked me when their lock finally clicked. And I realized I'd been waiting for that same sound in my own family. It just wasn't there. By April, the weather folder on my phone had grown fat with proof, voicemails, screenshots, every storm. Whenever doubt tried to crawl back in, I'd open it and remember what lightning looks like before it hits. One voicemail still made me pause. Mom's voice, softer than usual. "Maya, I just don't understand how you can do this to us. You used to be so kind." Kindness, I thought, isn't the same as surrender. Leo turned 11 that summer. Same courtyard, same net, this time stitched with fishing line we'd fixed together. A neighbor lent us a bubble machine. The air shimmered with soap and squeals, and the small, stubborn joy of a child who doesn't know what resentment costs. As he kicked the ball and laughed, I thought, this right here is how healing sounds, not in therapy notes or legal forms, but in a child's unguarded cheer. That night, Lucas asked, "Do you ever think they'll stop trying to reach you?" "Probably not," I said, "but I'll stop answering." He smiled and pulled me close. "Then you're free." And for once, I didn't flinch at the word, because maybe freedom isn't silence. It's knowing you can unlock the door, but choosing not to. A year passed. We didn't move far, just far enough for peace to find us. The barbershop hum became our lullaby. The clippers started at 8 a.m., like clockwork. Leo would laugh, say, "It's the sound of people getting ready," and then return to his cereal, half milk, half sugar. The jars on the fridge grew heavier. Summer, emergency. Sometimes Lucas would slip in a 5 and call it interest in our future. We were ordinary, and that was the most extraordinary thing I'd ever felt. One humid Thursday, Leo handed me a paper at the kitchen table. "Guest list," he said, "for my 11th. Same courtyard, same net." He wrote each name in careful, square letters. Omar, Eva, Liam. Then, after a long pause, he added 2 more, his cousins. "You can invite them," I said carefully, "but they might not come." He shrugged, optimistic as sunlight. "They might." I smiled. "Then let's hope they do." Party day arrived soft and gold. The sky behaved. The wind didn't. The balloons tried to escape twice. At 2:05, Jenna walked in, Natalie's sister-in-law, holding 2 shy kids who looked like they'd been coached to behave. No Natalie, no mom. The cousins saw the bubbles first, fat and iridescent, catching light like secrets. They ran forward before the adults could stop them. "Can I pop one?" the youngest asked. "Only if you catch it," Leo said. Laughter followed. It sounded like forgiveness without the paperwork. At 2:40, Mom arrived. She held a gift bag far too large for what was inside, that old family theater of scale over sincerity. She scanned the courtyard, saw the chipped tables and mismatched cups, and looked uncertain. The cousins weren't waiting for her photo pose. They were chasing bubbles. Mom tried to gather them for a Grandkids shot. They wriggled free. Leo offered her a paper cup of juice anyway, polite as habit. She hesitated before taking it. Watching her, I didn't feel anger anymore, just distance, like I was seeing her through the wrong end of a telescope. At 3:10, Natalie arrived. Late, loud, sunglasses on. Her entrance sucked air from the afternoon. "So," she said, glancing around, "this is what we're doing? Budget party chic? Cute." Jenna muttered her name like a warning, but Natalie kept going. "Mom, are we really pretending this is normal? She burned bridges over balloons, and you're drinking her juice boxes?" "Enough," Mom whispered, but her voice had lost authority months ago. I set the cake knife down and faced her. "Natalie," I said evenly, "don't do this here." She stepped closer, perfume hitting like a memory I didn't ask for. "You broke Mom's heart for this?" she hissed. "For a soccer net and clearance decorations?" "You call it cheap," I said. "Leo calls it his." She smirked. "You think you're some hero now. Meanwhile, we've paid for therapy for the kids because of your little stunt." I almost asked for receipts, but I've learned you can't audit emotional extortion. Instead, I crouched down to Leo. "You okay?" He nodded, brave, eyes steady. "Yeah." Then I stood up. "Natalie, you need to leave." She laughed. "Make me." My voice stayed calm. "I have 71 voicemails and 94 texts saved where you and Mom threatened consequences. If you don't go, I'll call this in as a disturbance. I'm not bluffing." Her smirk faltered. Numbers always got her attention. Jenna placed a hand on her arm. "We're leaving," she said. The tone wasn't a request. Natalie jerked away, turned at the gate, and shouted, "You'll regret this." Her words landed small against the laughter of children chasing bubbles. The air reset. Mom stood frozen for a moment, then looked at me, lips pressed tight. "You always have to win, don't you?" she said softly. "No," I said. "I just stopped losing quietly." She blinked, glanced at the kids, and, for the first time in years, didn't argue. She just nodded once, like a weary truce, and walked away. We went back to cake. Leo got his corner piece. His cousin got the other. The bubble machine sputtered its last few sighs of soap and air. No music, no speeches, just joy. Quiet, stubborn, real. That night, when the courtyard was empty and the stars flickered through the leftover balloons, I washed the cake knife in our tiny sink. My phone lit up again. Texts that ranged from carefully worded manipulation, families have disagreements, to blunt fury, you're heartless. I turned it face down and left it there. Leo was already asleep on the couch, arms wrapped around his new soccer ball. Lucas slid an arm around me. Best party yet, he said. Yeah, I whispered. It was. People ask if I'm angry. I was. For a long time. Now I'm just clear. There's a difference. Here's what I've learned, and what I'll teach Leo. Joy isn't something you steal from others. Help isn't help if it turns into a receipt every time you say no. Boundaries aren't revenge. They're doors that lock from the inside, so your home can be quiet. Saying no without an essay is a skill. We don't do that is a full sentence. This was never about winning. There's no scoreboard in healthy love. It was about closure, which is just another word for turning the key on a door that never protected you and walking through the one that does. I'm still a locksmith. I still show up when people are stuck. I still listen for the small click that means it's time. I used to think my job ended at the door. Now I know it lives at the kitchen table, at a courtyard with a lopsided cake, at a gate where I once said, "You need to leave," and meant it. Because this isn't about revenge. It never was. It's about closure and the sound a lock makes when it finally fits. Clean, final, free.